Greetings and salutations, all you beautiful individuals. It is another epi of League Online. Here and Mark here with you guys, and I was ready for a chill start to the day, have a coffee, just ease into things. But Gen.G today chose violence on the Rift and chose the furthest thing from chill as they absolutely dismantled top eSports, and I feel like I felt the shockwave throughout this entire event, seeing Gen.G at the level that they were today.
Oh boy, nightmares are real, and Gen.G is out there on Summoner's Rift this spooky Halloween season, taking you out and taking the game for themselves. Yes, this was absolutely no question, probably the most dominant showing that we have seen at the World Championship so far, and especially to the highest of octane degrees because of how good this Gen.G team was playing. And now we're looking at a top esports facing down the barrel of the 2 and 3 dreaded run at the World Championship.
And, again, this dismantling, this isn't like an LCK team against a wildcard team. This is the finalists from the LPL. We're kind of consensus the second best team in the LPL for the summer split. And I mean, truthfully, I don't think this is a big knock on top esports. I feel like Gen.G would have done this to most teams at the tournament, the level that they were at on the day. No turrets in game one, 24 minutes before Baron even spawned. This game was over. I think it was a few seconds away from the fastest one of the tournament. And some of these team fights, it really feels like an Order 66 type switch is activated for Gen.G, where they all just ascend to another level, have an immaculate team fight, and then come back down to earth a little bit.
It's like it's all of a sudden like they turn the dial, and the dial tunes into a certain frequency that they're all just instantly on, and it's all communications are 0-second transmission. It's so good, so perfect, and especially I think one of the ones, again, want to highlight throughout this series is Chovy in the mid lane. How can you not want to talk about what he's able to do? Everything from the little things to the biggest of things and big plays. He was on charge and in top of for this game, and what you were able to see from that, look at game one. The Talia performance, the way he is facilitating and threatening for his team. And then you just switch things up and say, no. I want to be the guy really finishing things off. I want to be the one popping off. Give me the Yone for game two.
Yeah, I mean, the Talia game, he was level 14 to Cream's 12 and had a 40 CS lead. And then, the second game, obviously this first blood play, listen, most guys go in with that low health and you're like, this guy's inting. But Chovy knows the absolute levels he can play on, gets the shield procced, and that's got to be such a tilter for a guy to engage on you with that low health after the Pantheon Spear just misses and he styles on.
I'm calling it right now. That is a product of Chovy having to go head-to-head against Faker all these years and find the difference maker, find that next level, and appreciate seeing where Faker has succeeded and he has faltered on the international stage. And sometimes it is taking a risk like that, betting on yourself, betting on your ability to be better than anybody else here, because guess what? It probably is out there. And Chovy really proved it in this game and this series, frankly, against top esports.
And you know what? Let's give TES a little credit. They did find one fight in game two where there was a little bit of a punch back and, maybe a little gut punch to Gen.G that maybe got a burp out of them, and they quickly bounced back from that. But there was at least some pushback in the second game, and it was even until like 15, 16 minutes at least.
Yeah, the smallest, the slightest of silver linings for top esports out of this one is, yes, you did show some pushback in some regard, and specifically really the second game of the series, but nowhere close to a level that is going to matter, I think, for most people. And you're left with a situation where, one, outstanding result for Gen.G, and which is two parts good and one part bad. 2 parts good because, that was fantastic. That's the showings that you want to show. it was so good that I think it's going to continue to bump up those expectations and the pressure on not faltering when it becomes the knockout stage. That's going to be that extra level because of how good they looked here, taking care of top esports. And then on the top esports side, you're talking about how do you rebound at this point away from a matchup like this? Because you know what? At the end of the day, yes, you did show a little bit of pushback, but not enough. And this is a clear cut that Gen.G is one of the ultimate contenders, the top tier elite of elites that will exist within this tournament. And to get dispatched in this type of fashion, you're not even a contender at that point. You're one of the outside chances looking on in, and that's not a good place to be feeling like you're put down to if you're top esports.
Well, yeah, Gen.G now after this fully, if they weren't already cemented as overall favorites again, as they were heading into this event itself, and top esports now feel like the bubble gatekeeper team to get to top 8, kind of just like that 8-9 zone is where they're hanging out, where we were feeling a lot better about them before. But we said coming into this, maybe the one angle is a Kanavi pop-off. Canyon has kind of been suspect over summer, but all of a sudden we get the best series, I know it's only 2 games, but out of Canyon that we've had since the regular season.
Yeah, I think that was certainly a level up individually from him. It helps that everything else was also just going so right in all the other places that you were able to take that type of control, take those type of choices and chances that Canyon was able to capitalize on in this series. Nothing against him. Sure, this is absolutely one of the things that you want to put in that back pocket as a sign that the Canyon that has built his resume on the international stage, is going to be here for Gen.G, and that is an extra level of power that you, frankly, didn't need, showing what power you've already shown here at this event. So that is going to be an extra little bit of power influence for this Gen.G squad.
And I know Yone has kind of fallen out of the meta favor, but Chovy on Yone and Ruler on Kaisa, I just don't know how you're winning many team fights in a game when they're on those 2 picks.
I don't care just how far, just how slight they are out of being a top tier, top meta type of option. When you've got people like Ruler and Chovy piloting it and being able to take advantage of what these champions provide that is unique compared to anything else that's out there, yes, you can roll the dice on these ones and make it look as clean and good as the way that this Gen.G roster did.
The much closer and hard-fought series on the day was absolutely MKOI versus Team Secret Wales, and I think a lot of people were probably sweating a little bit from EU after this first game against Team Secret, and even, midway or at least early game into Game 2, it wasn't looking great for EU.
No, and especially not that it wasn't, anything about, oh my goodness, this is going to be a power level that you can't rise up to and match on the day. It was more so worried about the underperformance, the pressure that would be there too, especially after the way things did play out in Game 1, very much dominant and controlled fashion for Team Secret Wales. It was one of those ones where you were saying to yourself, do you have it? Do you really have it to dig deep and show it with your season on the line, fully pushed to the back against the wall? Well, the procrastinators, that's what I'm going to call them for this time around, because they've waited until the very last second in this Game 2 pretty much to find their angle, their fight back into it and push this series to a deciding Game 3.
Yeah, it was very much so. I think you're talking about Elyoya and Alvaro as standouts, I think, in this series. Jojo Pian more than held his own as well. It was those are the 3 main guys. There was a big CS discrepancy throughout this whole series in that mid lane, but especially these last 2 games, the Kiana and then the absolute maybe best Nafiri performance we've seen all year out of anybody from Elyoya, as he racks that one up 10-0-8. And listen, there's no question, Game 2 and Game 3 especially, there were some egregious mistakes out of Team Secret Wales that let MKOI get back into this, overcommitting with the Leona or following up. I mean, they're all on the same page, but sometimes when you go in 1 by 1 or in a 4v5, it's not so good to be on the same page.
It's, you've just been like, yeah, I'm gonna have that last bite of pie or that last, little bit of potato over here, and then like 5-10 minutes later, you're like, oh yeah, I just had that one bite too much, and feeling great. That's how it is for Team Secret Rails. Just one little bite too much in this situation, overfull, overstuffed, and underperforming at that point, I think, is the way things started to shift in the series from that point on in the game 2-1. And I think, again, the way that how much control they had in game 2 and for it to slip away played into how things crumbled in game 3 for Team Secret Whales. It's unfortunate. I think this would have been a big deal if they were able to pull off the upset here, which, yes, still an upset at this point. It would have been a big deal for the LCP having these two squads be in the position that they would be. But right now, it is the end for Secret Whales. We are saying goodbye to them, and it is Koi and Jojo Pion living for another day, and Elyoya getting some revenge against the LCP on the international stage. Finally, for this Movistar Mad Lions, whatever the heck it is, history of this group.
Multiple generations he's getting revenge for. And really, I knew game 3 was going to be over for MKOI when you see Mirwin in the all chat going, fanboys, WTF, after he gets ganked multiple times. This is a team that at least I've said, is one of the most emotional ones that we have at this entire event. And when things are going their way, they got the flow, the mojo back. That's when they come online. So I saw Mirren type in that, and we're going, okay, here we go. Get up the emote spam, boys.
It's one of those clear signs that the attitude is there. And if the attitude is there for a squad like Movistar Koi, it's pretty good chances that you're getting one of their better performances of the year. So yes, very much so happy to see that sign coming through and enjoying themselves, enjoying the moment. It was what we'll call it here for this Movistar Koi team as they continue and stay alive at the event.
And I will say it wasn't all positive, good vibes for MKOI because bot lane was a bit of a gap throughout here. Alvaro had some great roams and great control with Elyoya, but the Supa versus Eddie matchup, even in the losses, Eddie was outperforming him. It was not a good day on the Rift for Supa. We saw, these disrespectful recalls, being out of position, not being in the spot his team needs him to be, getting caught out multiple times. It was, if they're gonna advance to the top 8, doesn't matter who they match up against next. We need a serious level up from Supa.
It was so bad. It was so egregious, the choices and the lack of respect for the situation and awareness at that point, that it's one of those ones and one of those type of moments where it really shifts a perspective on a player. And that is a dangerous thing to have happen if you're a young player like Supa, and especially your role, your place within this Movistar Koi lineup in the pecking order of how things go. You have a performance like that, you can find yourself very quickly in the conversation of, well, there is a lot of potential and talent there, but we can't take those risks. We need someone that elevates and performs at a higher level in these situations. And you're out of a spot like this. This is not where you want to be this point early in your career. So absolutely one of the guys I think that is lucky, frankly, that it is the turnaround for Movistar Koi, and there is going to be another opportunity to leave a different impression on people.
And listen, heading to this 2-2 round, all the teams that MKOI can play are going to be available. It doesn't matter. FlyQuest, CFO, TES, these are all squads they have not matched up against. So they're going to have pretty much the full possibility of matchups heading to that do or die best of to advance to top 8.
Which is scary for its own reasons, but even more so when you then factor in the conversation of, well, what are the matches that can't happen in the next part, right? Because that's going to be more so, I think, where it does factor in, because you do have a lot of teams that are still going to be available where it's, well, can't face off of them, can't face off against them, can't face off, and these type of situations where then the can gets kicked down towards you. And you're the one that has to pick up a T1, whatever it's going to be in one of these type of situations. T1 fingers crossed here, maybe type of situation for me and the T1 fanboys.
Yeah, I think a lot of things crossed there, but it's a little bit less of a sweat. Speaking of, we look at, we've talked about the drama. Said VKS, BLG, we've highlighted the miracle run. It's inevitable, and we'll be back to deliver it. But we have not touched on the other matchup that's going down on the Friday, and that is 100 Thieves versus T1. And this one's a little harder. I'm trying to see the threads. I'm trying to illuminate the path to a 100 Thieves upset, and all I can really come up with is a incredibly massive draft gap, which we have seen happen to T1, but they've also played their way out of some bad drafts. But I see, okay, FBI gets Ziggs. Ziggs is the kryptonite, the Achilles heel for T1. Great. Let's give one win there. Quid picks a champion that, Faker's not that comfortable on, steal the Aurora, steal the Yone. Quid has an incredible 1v9 performance, maybe. I'm really struggling, and I don't have 5 reasons why 100 Thieves will beat T1.
The problem when you look at this and you are trying to find that upset angle in a similar vein as we did for Kisar and BLG, which I'm still very excited about that matchup to come on through and see how that will play out. When you're looking at this one, it's a lot more conditional to find a way for 100 Thieves to find an angle into this game. Not saying that the outline that we laid out for Keatstar against BLG does not have its own conditions that it wants to meet in order to be a possible reality. It's a little bit more so on the side of this one with T1 and 100 Thieves. You're talking about some big type of swings happening as you laid out, certain champions, certain compositions having to really be the way the stage is set in order for it to feel like you can have a chance or find an angle, a positive charge on the team. But you can't find these ones if you're looking through the history and you're really looking through the performances of some of these guys. And I'm going to present to you one angle that I think is going to be it. And I'm going big dokes up in the top side, because we have certainly seen some big dokes levels of performances and effect for this 100 Thieves team since he has stepped into this lineup and at this World Championship. So I think that is one angle that you can hope for, and to combo it with, right? Get the dipping sauce just to perfectly pair alongside it is going to be a dreaded Doran international performance, because there are a handful of them within his closet of performances on the international stage that have been relative stinkers, that have been duds in the top lane. And I think if you can get some big dokes, carry performances, really putting the team on his shoulders and leading the charge, taking the flag in his hand and saying, follow me, boys, to the promised land, and a Doran slip-up or two, that's an angle that I think starts to enter into some possible chances to build up a lead, build up an advantage that might be too much for T1 to pull off a miracle, run back against.
And it is a similar vein in terms of pressure, of course. T1, the 2-time defending world champs, the most iconic organization in the sport, so the pressure's all on them. Nobody is expecting 100 Thieves to win, so they're playing with house money. It just still, I'll give them a solid 2% chance. I think Trimby was saying 25-75 for their matchup. I like that, but I'm giving 100 Thieves a little 2% here, because this version of T1, with Doran or not, this 4 core championship members backs against the wall at Worlds, that's when they lock in.
It's an overperformance, underperformance, plus mistakes type of equation has to equal out for 100 Thieves in these type of situations. I don't expect it, and I don't pull for it in the same way that we had outlined, again, the possible upset between Keatstar and BLG's matchup. I wish you could say the same for 100 Thieves and for NA fans, and again, it's the conflict for me, because I'm always ready to fight for NA, but I'm also a T1 fanboy, so I'm here with the trucker boys, and we're ready to get rolling in here at the World Championship.
I think that's where most of the masses are hanging out, is on that side of the history heading into this one. I do have a little bit of off-season news to chat while we are at Worlds. We know teams move fast before November even rolls around. There's rumor mills swirling, and the latest is coming out of the blue wall. We're talking Karmine Corp. I heard earlier they're probably re-signing Kana, or trying to do that. It looks like they'll be getting Yike back, even though the rookie on KC Blue is is getting a lot of hype and will probably get an LEC opportunity. But now we're hearing Vladdy most likely not going to be back with the squad, and he's not talking to just one other LEC team, not two. He's talking to 5. Literally half the league are in some type of conversation with signing this young player, and rightfully so, because we've seen the potential that this dude has.
It's a get me the heck out of here type of situation from Vladdy, and whether that is the right or positive situation from either of the sides, frankly, Vladdy's or KC's, still really left to be seen. But at the end of the day, I think it is absolutely one where this bridge is completely and totally burned down at this point. From what we had heard, rumors, all sorts of things of instability, some fighting, where all these type of things going on behind the scenes for KC. Think that they've got absolutely some hint of truth to them, seeing this type of thing go down, and especially hearing about this again, a situation where it's not just, okay, let me hand pick one or two certain situations that I think are more green, are better for me, are going to provide whatever X, Y, and Z in comparison to where I could be staying with KC. No, it's get me anybody that's a different situation, a different place, whatever. I'll take it. Put your name here, I'm signing type of thing, as long as it ain't KC. That's how it really feels right now from Vladdy. And for how things gone and what the potential that he has shown himself to have in his career. And I think the way that we had hoped, and a lot of people frankly had hoped, KC to continue to build up and improve again off of what their performance was this year. Without Vladdy there and his potential, it becomes that open question mark of how do you fill that spot in?
Yeah, and obviously there's no shortage of young talent. Are they the same level as Vladdy? Well, probably not. He's pretty damn good. And Fnatic, one of these squads he's allegedly talking to, I don't know if you want to leave a toxic upper management for a different type of toxic upper management that we see out of Fnatic time in and time out as the World Championships come and go, and they kind of flounder out. But no question, Vladdy probably one of, if not the biggest pieces of the free agent puzzle for Europe heading into 2026, and that will be the one to closely monitor the most. But that is it today. For League Unlock, Eric and Mark here with you, absolute stunners. Thanks for hanging out as always, and you best believe we'll catch you on that flippity flip.